Hey guys, this is Mickey Botnick, and this is gonna be my new video. I guess today, since I think yesterday I decided that I don't actually hate my mom. I'm talking about my biological one. So, today's video is gonna be about my abusive mom and how my life was growing up with her. Okay. So, to start off, growing up, she was one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. I don't think that people grow up immediately hating their mom, but growing up, she was gorgeous. She was actually a good mom when I was younger. She only speaks Spanish at the time because she was an immigrant who came from Mexico. And she taught me Spanish, she taught me how to cook, she taught me how to bake. She taught me how to sew, very complex sewing. She even taught me French. And I truly don't think that people genuinely grow up hating their parents. I feel like it happens over time. I like to think that someone's past can be a reason as to why they act a certain way now. And the way my mom was brought up was that she used to live in Mexico. She was a Mexican immigrant. That's already mentioned. But it was more of her childhood. My biological mom grew up watching her dad cheat. She grew up in a poor house in Mexico. And she grew up with over 14 siblings. And she grew up not being able to eat, not having proper care, not being able to shower sometimes. And during her more adult years, she also left Mexico. She ran away from her home because it didn't give her a purpose. She ran away. She decided to become a sewing designer for a bit, and then she met my dad. I was never really told the full story to its extent, but from what I know is that they met for 3 days, and she decided that she was going to drop everything behind and go to America and start this new life. This is a really hard story to explain because it took a lot of effort for me to just, not that I forgive her, but I kind of understand why she acts the way that she does. She grew up not having proper therapy, not learning things, not learning respect, because, again, she grew up with terrible role models. I remember as me being a young age, I was 9, maybe 8 or something, and she told me all this stuff. She told me how my biological dad cheated on her, how all men do this, but it's fine. And she also grew up with this shitty relationship with her parents. She blamed her mom for not stepping up and not caring for her siblings, since she was the middle child. She was the middle child of all 14 of the siblings. And she just grew up resenting both of her parents. And I remember, even though my mom knew that my father was an ass, she told me how she left everything to be with him and to kind of escape the situation. And that's the story of my mom. That's her entire backstory. And like I said, growing up with her, she was actually a good parent. She taught me things. She was there when I cried. But it was only up to the teenage years where she was kind of iffy. I remember when I got raped, she kind of told me it was my fault and that I shouldn't provoke the male gaze. And she just, I don't know. She told me that, like, I think that of a lot of her views, I think a lot of her views come from, like, stuff her parents taught her. Like, how I shouldn't dress masculine because I won't find the right man. And she also, on occasions, would call me the N-word, say that my skin color isn't beautiful and I should bleach it. And that no one would ever want to date someone my skin color. And she was like a white Mexican. She was also a model for a certain period of time, but she was a white Mexican, and she married my dad, who was a black guy, and she told me that my skin color wasn't beautiful enough. That was all over the time period when I was younger. She used to tell me stories about when she was living in Mexico. She would witness murders and just suicides from just all the people in their area. And I didn't know what to do with that information, honestly. I like to think that she only became this bad of a person because the lessons that she learned from her parents and also my dad. I remember that she used to not be addicted to smoking or painkillers or Adderall or any like medication when I was younger. But looking back, I'm pretty sure that I witnessed my dad introducing her to that, and she just became this person that I couldn't recognize anymore. She was like this ghost of her past self. I remember there was just days where she would just sit down on her bed, not do anything, just look plain into the area. Some occasions I genuinely thought like she's dead, because she wouldn't react to anything. She was kind of emotionless for a certain period of time, and she wasn't responsive. It felt like more or less she was just existing, and there wasn't much I could do about it. I mean, at this age, I was young. I didn't know this. I didn't know what to do. I remember for most of my childhood, besides like what she taught me, she actually used to be there. She was always there. It was never really my dad. She was always there. The only parent that taught me all the things I learned now, like painting my nails, brushing my teeth, taking baths and showers, she was like this replacement for my dad. But then she just stopped being present, and I had to be the one to raise myself. And it sucked. When I turned 16, she started getting really pushy about my future. She was sitting there telling me that I wouldn't get into college, that I wasn't smart enough to get into college. She was telling me that I wasn't pretty enough to find a rich man and date him, even though I grew up poor. And she didn't follow her own advice, what she was telling me, but okay. Just, my mom was really male-centered, and the more I grew up, the more we grew up. It's just, the more she grew, more we grew. She changed, and she stopped being the strong version that I imagined her to be. It was like I had like a filter over the person that I thought she was, or like the potential of what I thought she could be, and she just stopped being responsive. She was telling me how I wasn't smart enough to get into college, that I would never achieve my dreams. She put me down. I remember on occasions she would come steal my clothes and then look at me and say, I look better in this because I'm prettier than you. Just something like that. And she just changed. My foster mom likes to say that she's probably jealous. She was probably jealous of me, or she had hidden resentment because I remember over the years she had plastic surgeries or multiple surgeries to switch up her body or change in dieting because she would get bone skinny. Like, you would see her ribs and her ribs and her skeletons, because on occasion she would get like bone skinny, and it scared me. Some days she just looked like a skeleton. And my mom was a really fashionable person, really heavy makeup, really trendy new clothes, and it's hard to see that as a kid. And I gained a lot of my old traits from that. I used to be anorexic, and I probably saw my mom doing it, and that's where I got the idea that I wasn't pretty enough because I wasn't skinny enough or something. So yeah, that factor too. My dad would make slight comments about my body, and then my mom would try to like tell me to cover up more. She would tell me to wear less makeup around him because I'd provoke him. And it was just, she changed. Not much I could do. And then when my dad started like hitting me, she would try to like, she would genuinely like excuse his actions. Even if my dad would hit her, like, she would excuse his actions. She would be like, oh, but I deserve this. Oh, he hit you because you deserve this. Oh, he's just like that. Oh, he's just this way because he is this way. And it sucked. It really sucked because for a while, when I dated someone, I felt myself becoming her. I would be this version of myself that just made excuses for people. And yeah. The last time I've ever saw my mom was June 18, 2026. We've actually saw each other outside the courthouse. And I explained this in my last video, but she essentially started crying to me, saying how my dad getting arrested was all my fault, and how he's just that way, and he's not a bad guy, and he's still my father at the end of the day, so I should just forgive him. I think that specific moment, it just made me realize that she was too deep. She was too deep in this wormhole of just craziness, just believing my dad, aka literally our abusers, and I couldn't get her out, and there was nothing I can do. She's always going to be this way. She didn't believe in therapy. I'm pretty sure she was schizophrenic in some way, because again, in my last video, I would talk about how she constantly had this belief that neighbors were stalking us or watching us. She had this belief that like every single person is out to get her. She had this belief that people would come into our house and try on her underwear and dance around in it. I don't know what's going on with her. She had these beliefs all the time, like that things were out to get her, and that everyone was watching her, and that someone was out to kill her. And it was just a lot of violence. I remember she tried to kill my brother once because, according to her, she thought he was a spy. And she resented me because for a while she thought that I was secretly sent from child services or something to get her, or ICE to get her. And it was just this crazy thing, like, and I tried so hard to get her to leave my father. I tried so hard to just be a good daughter, because apparently I wasn't a good daughter. I tried so hard to not be a stress in her life, because apparently I was an accident anyway, and that I wasn't good enough for them. It didn't matter what I did. They wouldn't change, and apparently I was never good enough for them. That's the problem, too. If someone has this belief that you'll never be good enough for them, then you won't. And there's no point in trying to, change their ideas. And I've grown these past few months to just not hate or resent anyone. And I decided to make this video since it's my more recent conclusion. I don't exactly condone her actions, nor do I want to make excuses for them. But some days I do kind of see where she's coming from. If I also grew up coming from someone who literally did run away, if I grew up in this abusive household and if I had any chance, any door that opened to me to leave, I would have left immediately. And that was her only hole, was to come to illegally leave Mexico and live with my dad. And that sucks because certain circumstances stop you from healing. So I can't blame her for being the way that she is, because she hasn't gotten help. And she grew up in circumstances where she can't get help. But I don't excuse her actions. And lately, I've been having more reoccurring dreams about her, more than I like to admit. There's some days where I genuinely wake up and think that I'm still living at my old abusive household. And it sucks, because then I just wake up in a panic. And my foster sister comforts me. I can't say that I miss her at all. Honestly, I don't even remember the last time, I've really had her as a thought. But it's more of a reoccurring thought. More of a reoccurring dream. And yeah. Same as last time, I hope that if anyone finds this video, they find encouragement to change, to look into your situation more, to change, to heal. That's all I hope for, honestly. I just hope that this video can benefit as much people as it can. That's my only goal. And as always, bye. Mwah. Bye, guys.